Well, good morning, everyone. I have to tell you this. When I was in high school and running tracks, I never thought one day I'll be making an announcement standing on tracks in my very nice black leather shoes. So here we are. My coach will not appreciate this whatsoever. Good morning. My name is Yasir Naqvi. I have the great honor to be the Member of Parliament for Ottawa Centre. This incredible Terry Fox Athletic Center is located in our community. This is a place to be if you've never been. Tomorrow, I'm sure you'll come, and this will be bustling with students running around the track. Last summer, we had the Canadian Championships here as well, which was just remarkable to see athletes from all across the country. So I just look at these kind of facilities in our community, and I just really marvel how much this is important. And I know my good friend Adam van Koeverden knows this really well. We just had a really exciting Winter Olympics and Paralympics. As we know, we had 20 athletes from Ottawa who participated and performed and made us so proud. But we know that athletes all across the country work extremely hard every single day to not only live their true sport, but also as a country make us so proud. And it is really important and a responsibility for us to be there for our athletes, to make sure that they are able to do well what they are trained so hard to do. And I'm really excited to have the honor and to work with Secretary of State for Sports, Adam van Koeverden, an Olympian, a champion himself, someone who never stops talking about the importance of sports, for our children, for our communities. I learn something new from him every single day. I go running with him and can't keep up with him, and thrilled to call him a friend. Adam, welcome to Ottawa Centre.
Thanks so much, Yasir. It's nice to be here. Of course, we're often in Yasir's riding because it includes the House of Commons, but Ottawa Centre is a beautiful riding, and thank you very, very much for hosting us here at this iconic track with an iconic name, with iconic athletes. I want to just welcome fellow Olympians Lizanne Murphy and Emma Miskew to the track to talk about the importance of athlete mental health, and thank my colleague, Parliamentary Secretaries Yasir Naqvi and Maggie Chi for being here today to celebrate this. Maggie is, of course, the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Health, and we are focusing on health today. But what a privilege to be on the Terry Fox track. Like you said, the host of last year's and I think this year's National Track and Field Championships. It's actually kind of like nerve-wracking to be here on this track, because I used to do time controls when we trained at Ottawa at the Rideau Canoe Club, and we'd come here and it was pretty. I'm actually getting nervous being on the track. I'm glad that we don't have to. I've got my running shoes on, but I'm glad we don't have to do a workout. But aujourd'hui, un élément essentiel de cette préparation, c'est la santé mentale. C'est très important. It's an understatement to say that it's an exciting time for sport in Canada. 2026 is truly the year of sport in Canada. Not only are we hosting the FIFA 2026 Men's World Cup, we just had incredible performances at the Olympics and the Paralympics, the Arctic Winter Games. This summer, we'll be hosting the World Wheelchair Basketball Championships, the Seated Volleyball Championships, the World Cycling Championships, and the list goes on. With incredible moments, Team Canada athletes compete at their best and inspire the next generation, and our government is committed to supporting them from start line to the finish line. And with major events still to come, it's important that we recognize that in hosting these events, we also have an obligation to be there for our teams. Alors que ces athlètes travaillent fort pour réaliser leurs rêves, il est notre responsabilité de bâtir un système sportif fort et digne et confiance. One that supports not only performance, but throughout their entire journey. Sport is more than just competition, it's about our communities. It also reflects who we are as Canadians and brings us together for a stronger country. And as a nation, but also at a community level, at sports clubs like the Terry Fox Club here. Pour bâtir un Canada plus fort grâce au sport, nous devons nous assurer que notre système est moderne, inclusif et adapté aux besoins des athlètes. High-performance sport demands a lot of us. Athletes may prioritize their physical performance, and sometimes that comes at the detriment of mental health. I know it's not easy. And sometimes it's actually in those weeks and months right after the games where it seems like you can't do it anymore, or you start to question what's next. So I think it's actually very, very good timing in the sort of limelight of the Olympics and the Paralympics that we're demonstrating that we're here for Team Canada's athletes. We're taking an athlete-centered approach to ensuring that that support isn't just about physiotherapy and massage therapy, but it's everything above our shoulders too. And the Government of Canada is there with services, supports, and resources for all of our athletes. Because mental health is strength. And as we build Canada strong, that includes our greatest ambassadors. Those that wear the maple leaf on their backs and on their chests for us when they go off and make us proud in competitions. In the weeks and months ahead, as Prime Minister Mark Carney has said, we are revamping and rebuilding the strongest sports system in the world. And I'm proud that we're starting here, telling stories that emphasize how important sport is to our country and what we need to do in order to build that strongest sports system around the world. The Government of Canada is committed to that. Earlier this year, I announced an investment of $16 million to support organizations specifically to strengthen safety and integrity throughout the sports system. And as part of the Sport Support Program, a portion of this larger investment supports mental health initiatives and services like the ones that we're talking about today. So that's why I'm very pleased to announce this morning that we're investing over $6 million directly to support mental health. This investment will help high-performance athletes and coaches access the vital mental health services they need to thrive. Cette aide sera versée par extréme de réseau des instituts de sport olympique et paralympique du Canada, du Comité olympique canadien et Comité paralympique canadien. It also includes funding for Game Plan, a unique collaboration between these sport organizations that helps athletes and coaches prepare not only for competition, but in life beyond sport too. And that includes careers. It was probably about 13 or 14 years ago when I was working with the Athletes Commission with the Canadian Olympic Committee that a bunch of us athletes stood up and said, you know what, we demand more. We demand more services and opportunity to grow past the boats and the curling rocks and the basketball gyms and the track and the pool. We want to develop more fully as people that are going to contribute in different ways to society. And Game Plan has really grown into that extraordinary program that is doing just that for thousands of athletes in Canada. Canadian athletes represent the very best of our country. Like I said, they're our greatest ambassadors. When they go abroad or compete here in Canada, we are so tremendously proud of them. They wear the maple leaf, they unite us, they make us proud to be Canadian. Their commitment, their perseverance, and their excellence inspire us all. And athletes deserve a system that supports them every step of the way. So I want to thank Prime Minister Mark Carney for his support, for his announcement recently that we are rebuilding and revamping the Canadian sports system from playground to podium. Thank you everybody for being here today. Thank you to the pillars of our sports system that I get to be surrounded with today. Et maintenant, j'invite Marc Desjardins, président directeur général de l'INS Québec, à prendre la parole au nom du réseau des instituts de sport olympique et paralympique du Canada.
Maggie Chi before Mark.
Really? Okay. But before that, the Parliamentary Secretary to Health, Maggie Chi. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Maggie.
Thank you, Adam, and thank you, Yasir. What a great honor to be here and being at this iconic location. I want to first thank the recreation staff that are here. It truly is this location is epitome of that term, right? From rec to Olympian, to the countless hours that people spend here, to the countless parents that are here supporting future athletes or current athletes. This is a great facility with hundreds of thousands of kids and students coming through every single year. And I also want to just say what a great honor to be in the presence of amazing people, Olympians. You guys represented us at the global stage, and you made us proud. So thank you for doing that well and for making us so proud to be Canadians. I'm here representing the Minister of Health, Marjorie Michel. It's a great honor, and I want to begin by saying a simple idea. Health is more than just physical fitness. Health includes our physical, mental, and social well-being at every stage of life. And Adam really artfully articulated that in his speech, and truly is especially true in high-performance sport. Behind every athlete and every coach is a person managing intense pressure, expectations, and demands of competition at the highest level. We often celebrate performance, but we need to be just as focused on well-being. You cannot have peak performance without supporting the whole person. High-performance athletes and coaches face unique challenges, including travel, isolation, injury, and the constant pursuit of excellence. And we have heard very clearly that mental health and physical health must go hand in hand. A strong sports system is one that supports all of that in a continuum. To support Canada Strong, we need the full participation of everyone, including those representing our country on the world stage. That means ensuring high-performance athletes and coaches have access to the support they need to stay healthy, resilient, and ready to perform. It also means creating environments that are safe, inclusive, and grounded in respect, where people can focus on their goals, knowing their well-being is a priority. Sports has the power to inspire, as we saw in the most recent Olympic in Milan, and it must also be a space where people feel supported every step of the way. Our government is committed to reducing barriers and strengthening support so that those in high-performance sports can thrive, both in competition and beyond. Because when our athletes and coaches are supported, Canada is stronger. Thank you very much, and it's my pleasure to introduce Marc Desjardins to the mic.
Bonjour, quelle belle nouvelle aujourd'hui. On behalf of my colleagues of COPSIN, the 7 sports institutes across the country, I'd like to thank Adam and the Government of Canada. It's incredible news for us today. So at COPSIN, we provide daily world-class scientific and medical support to athletes and coaches. We have the best expert and expertise. So we work daily with them, and we support them throughout their journey and help them reach their goals and their dream. That dream is to win, but the important is also to win well. D'où l'importance de l'annonce d'aujourd'hui. Nous croyons fermement dans les instituts qu'un athlète en santé, autant physique que mentale, c'est un meilleur athlète qui va réussir mieux. L'investissement d'aujourd'hui va avoir des impacts concrets pour les athlètes et les entraîneurs. Ça va nous permettre d'offrir des services de santé mentale partout à travers le Canada. Ça va nous permettre de mettre en œuvre la stratégie nationale de santé mentale, donc de beaucoup axer sur la prévention et sur l'éducation. Nous allons être capables d'embaucher des psychologues cliniciens pour mettre en place des projets, des formations, des outils pour la prévention. Donc nous allons aussi former les entraîneurs et le personnel au plan d'action d'urgence en santé mentale. Donc, ces gens-là vont être mieux outillés pour aider les athlètes. Et également, on va être capable de continuer à déployer le programme plan de match. And when we do deploy the game plan program, we work with a lot of partners. One of them is the COC, the Canadian Olympic Committee. So it's my pleasure to introduce my colleague here, Lisanne Murphy. She's an Olympian from 2012 and 2016 in basketball, and she's now Director of Sports System and Athlete Relations with COC.
Awesome, merci tout le monde pour être là et merci au gouvernement de Canada pour votre investissement dans la santé mentale des athlètes. On behalf of the Canadian Olympic Committee, but also as an Olympian, as a graduate of the Game Plan program, and as a colleague working in sport, we're just so glad to be here and to see the commitment and continuity of the investment in athlete mental health care. Rooted in the national strategy for mental health in high-performance sport, we've seen concrete advances in the Canadian sports system. And this is one of the examples where when we work together along with National Sport Organization, the COPSIN, the government, the COC, the CPC, and athlete, we get it right. And we know that when athletes' mental health is taken care of, they perform better, they can reach incredible heights at their athletic careers, they stay in sport longer, they're more well-balanced, they can pursue interests outside of sport while remaining in sport, and it's a win-win for us all. And as we continue, and we know we've heard from athletes, the Game Plan program ran focus groups across the country, and from coast to coast to coast, they heard that this program, the mental health support, is life-changing. It's a game changer. it's intangible to their success. And so the ability to be able to continue to offer that support along in partnership with everyone and many others that you don't see here is a tremendous boost and win for the country. Nous sommes vraiment fiers de continuer de travailler avec vous tous pour avancer la santé mentale des athlètes, maintenant et aussi les environnements où le sport se passe. Alors pour les athlètes, pour les coachs, pour le personnel qui les aide et tout notre système, c'est vraiment un vrai plaisir de pouvoir travailler avec vous. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. You want to introduce Emma?
Is Emma coming up? No, and I know I'd love to introduce. I wasn't sure if I'm passing it along here. So proud to be able to introduce Emma, a bronze medalist at the Milano Cortina Games, and a proud resident of Ottawa. Come on up.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Emma Miskew, an Olympic medalist and world champion athlete in the sport of curling. I am so pleased to be here with the announcement of over $6 million in funding over the next 2 years for mental health support to make high-performance sport a safer and more inclusive space. I've been competing as long as I can remember. Being an athlete is something I'm incredibly proud of, but it also comes with its share of challenges. There's the constant pressure to perform, the difficulty of balancing sport with education and work, and the strain it can sometimes place on relationships with friends and family. Those are the parts of sport that aren't always visible from the outside, where everything can look so polished and even glamorous. In reality, these are the obstacles many of us face quietly, doing our best to navigate and overcome them behind the scenes. That's why I feel especially fortunate that, when I needed it the most, I was able to access mental health support through Game Plan. At a time when things felt overwhelming, having that support available made a meaningful difference. Life doesn't pause in the background while we're competing. We're still navigating everyday challenges while training, traveling, and performing. There was a period when I was struggling, and although I knew I needed additional sessions with my practitioner, the financial strain of increasing that support weighed heavily on me. Game Plan made it possible for me to access the care I needed without having the added stress of cost. Athletes shouldn't have to choose between prioritizing their mental health and maintaining financial stability. Game Plan helped remove that barrier for me by ensuring the support was there exactly when I needed it. When I first began competing at a high performance level, this kind of support didn't exist. Seeing it available now, not only myself, but for athletes coming up behind me is incredibly encouraging. We invest so much of ourselves into our sport and make countless sacrifices along the way. Having access to resources like this not only supports performance, but more importantly, it supports the person behind the athlete, and that makes all the difference. As we look ahead, this investment represents more than just funding. It represents a shift in how we value and support athletes as whole people. My hope is that every athlete feels empowered to reach out when they need help, knowing that support is not only available, but encouraged. Because when we take care of our mental health, we don't just become better athletes, we become healthier, more resilient people. Thank you to everyone who has made this possible and for helping create a strong sporting environment where athletes can truly thrive, both in competition and beyond. Thank you.
Thanks, Emma.
Woohoo, this is exciting. I love hanging out with sport royalty, by the way. So thank you very much for making my day. This is very, very exciting. Félicitations, cet investissement est très important. You know, we cheer our athletes when the games are on. It's our responsibility to support them all year long. And that's exactly what we're doing, and look forward to working with all of you in making sure that our athletes are supported every single day. Now, this is the moment where us politicians as athletes have got to perform. So this is the moment for media to ask questions. All of us are here to do our very best to answer your questions. Go to it.
Hi, Dua with Global News. Thanks for being here. My question is for Emma. What does this funding mean to you, and does it reflect what athletes have been asking for? Thank you.
So the funding is super important for all athletes, whether we realize it at the time or not. I don't know, from when I grew up, I didn't know that you had to focus on your mental health, and as an athlete, it was something that I didn't have when I first started my career, and so to have it available now is just really great and I'm so excited for all the athletes coming up in high performance who will have access to this, because it can make all the difference in terms of just the pressures that we feel in performing. Wearing that maple leaf on your back doesn't come lightly, as I said, and I think it's really just great for all the younger athletes coming up to know that it's there and to normalize it and to talk about it. It doesn't have to be a quiet thing that we all go through individually anymore, so I'm really excited about it.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Dan from iPolitics, and my first question is for Secretary van Koeverden, and I was just going to ask, like, are there any plans to fund, mental health for athletes at beyond the national level, like youth athletes and that kind of thing, because we're kind of talking about that, like journey from the top up, and if there's anything that you'd like to see in the future as far as funding for youth athlete mental health or any other levels of athletics.
Thanks, Dan. That's a great question. And yes, 100%. We're investing in the sport system from the playground to the podium, which includes, multi-service sport organizations like the Special Olympics, for example, that provides that opportunity every single day for over 40,000 athletes from coast to coast to coast. So as we build that sport system, we're trying to focus on it as a giant ecosystem that starts with kids just enjoying themselves, having fun, and truly as an athlete, I believe that moving our bodies around is mental health. Like getting to be in a safe and strong environment with mentors and teammates, creating new friendships and relationships, being able to benefit from all of the value of physical activity, but all the social impact that's created when we're together off our phones, enjoying grass stains rather than screen time, and building friendships rather than followers. It's like that's what sport does. So whether we're focusing explicitly on mental health services or just the benefits that sport provides us all when we move our bodies more, like we have to appreciate, like we live in Canada, it's a country of seasons. Sometimes it's too hot, sometimes it's too cold, sometimes it's raining sideways, but we've got to find more solutions for Canadians. That includes building infrastructure in communities that are maybe isolated, remote, Indigenous communities that don't have access to beautiful facilities like Terry Fox or, a 50-meter swimming pool. So when we are talking about that ecosystem of sport, we're talking about facilities, infrastructure, programming, leadership, and creating opportunity for every single Canadian. So thank you for focusing on youth today. And I think our national sport organizations, whether it's Canada Games, who offers sporting opportunities for kids. Just last summer, we were in St. John's with 5,000 athletes from every province and territory and 5,000 volunteers. And I can tell you with certainty it was great for my mental health to be there, and it was great for the young athletes to see them happy, smiling, creating friendships that are going to last a lifetime.
Well, thank you. And I have another question for our amazing athletes. I was just going to ask more about the game plan program and kind of how, like, what impact that's had on you and sort of what you hope to see going forward, and just maybe like more, like just personally, how has that program helped you in the past? And I know you touched on it a little bit, but I'd love to hear more.
Do you want to hear from both of us, or?
Oh, either one of you, whoever wants to start. Yeah.
Okay, sure, I can go first.
Thank you.
I was an original, I feel I'm one of the, maybe shortly after Adam, but one of the original game plan participants, I guess. And at the time, they were really trying to normalize, it was more framed as a transition program. So it didn't feel like something you could access throughout your whole career. So you kind of spend my time as an athlete, and I was on the national team for 14 years, thinking quietly in a secret room of what was after, but afraid to say it out loud. And what I saw towards the end and when I got involved with game plan was that, no, this actually makes me a better athlete, a better person, a better family member, a better teammate when I can start pursuing my interest outside of that. And I would say my game plan advisor, who's still there, Sophie, from out of the INS Québec, she felt like a lifeline at a time where I knew in my heart I didn't have it to go for a third games. I knew I wanted to move back to Canada because I'd been living abroad, but I didn't have the courage to say it out loud. And she helped me find those words and take the first few steps that ultimately allowed me to be in the same room as an Eric Miles, who then recruited me to work in sport. But I would say that first step of the advisor being there, meeting you where you're at and helping equip you with the words, or just what that first step is in thinking about that, is really what we're talking about when we want to get to that holistic, full picture of an athlete and not just you on the field of play. And I think that's the real evolution of the program over in the last 10 years is that they look at that from start till way beyond, and it's more of a relationship over a lifetime.
Thank you so much.
As still a current player, I've been able to benefit from game plan from a bunch of different areas, and like Lisa said, it's a guidance. It's like helping you realize what you need as an athlete, and they provide the resources, whether it is mental health now or it could be just career planning or and different courses that you can take to better yourself in speaking or whatever else it is. There's a bunch of resources there, and they're always sending emails and correspondence just about different programs that you can take or courses you can sign up for that would appeal to different athletes for different reasons. So it's a great resource. I've been able to follow along with it and use it at times that I needed it, and I think it's just growing, and it's really great for all the athletes.
Thanks.
I have just one thing that I'd like to say about it too, if I could. I remember a time when you'd be talking to a performance psychologist about your race coming up, and you'd feel like a little bit ashamed or embarrassed to say, I want to talk about something personal too. Is that okay? Is this a safe space to talk about my relationship or my feelings? And it's not like that anymore. 100% not. And like, I retired from my sport in 2016. I didn't know what was happening next, but I got to access these great programs with Game Plan. I got a summer internship at Deloitte. I got a job at Deloitte. I worked at MLSE Launchpad. I started working on my French. Like, tons of opportunities that exist now for athletes that didn't exist 10 and 20 years ago. And you can see that in like the leadership capacity that it's helped amazing people like Lizanne and Erica Weeb and Emily Furnell develop. Like athletes are now like leading in roles in corporate Canada, like Greg Douglas at Deloitte. Like, amazing work, right? And they're all products of this program, so we couldn't be more proud of it.
Thank you all.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right, who's going to the starting blocks for a little lap around?